bag. I'm not sure what that is, but probably a product, so that's going to be a product we would think about reviewing. Here's another double sleeping bag. Again, pretty low. Star Wars sleeping bag. Who doesn't want one of those? Here's another Vango sleeping bag. So another product brand. Very low competition. So I'm seeing a couple of things here. One, I'm seeing that this is a very good market. Number two, I'm already seeing that the main terms I might go after, like sleeping bag reviews and best sleeping bags, have a decent amount of traffic and very low competition. So that's another bonus. And I'm also seeing some secondary markets. Like here again is 2-person sleeping bag, and that's actually got a ton of competition. So that's a great example of a market that you want to avoid. It's only got 880 searches and 11 million different websites mentioning that. We got backpack sleeping bags. Let's take a look at that. 8,000, very small again, the plural. 39,000. Here's a dog sleeping bag. We have a dog, and there's no way I could get him to ever sleep in a sleeping bag. Hello Kitty sleeping bag. My daughter would love that. 0 degree sleeping bag. Now I saw a lot of those on Amazon, and that's got some pretty decent competition. You know, here's more baby sleeping bags. Baby sleep bag. And actually, I have kids. I don't think that's actually a sleeping bag. It's a little fleece thing you put them in when they go to sleep. We use those. We call it a sleep sack, if anybody was interested. But I think you get the point here. That's kind of how we do our market research. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top. And right now I can already see this is a great market. Some things I'll point out. Searches, you want to have at least a couple thousand. 1,000 exact searches is decent. You're going to be able to get some traffic off of that. Not a ton, as opposed to a market that had 50,000 searches a month. But for just an example, we checked that competition. And you can see 3 million. So the competition is very high. So for me personally, for this example, I am very happy that I see, where was it here? Best sleeping bag, only 10,000 people using that in their title tag. And then there was a review somewhere here. If I can find it. Sleeping bag reviews, 23,000. So those are probably two great terms that I'll target with my homepage. Sleeping bag reviews and best sleeping bag. You want to look for an SEO title tag competition. I would say under 100,000. And if you can get down below 50,000 and even these 20,000, that's a very realistic term to go after and get traffic for. Again, pretty good traffic. One last step you can take is you can see actually how hard it'll be to rank for that term. If I click on the key, it's going to open up a new tab. Let me scroll this down. You see it opened up a new tab here. So now it's going to isolate that word. And now I can check out the SEO competition for that keyword. I will generate the results. I'll pause it. This will take a minute. And this will show you who is ranking currently for that keyword. Let me stretch this out so we can. So number one is sleeping bag reviews. So obviously somebody with the same idea that I have. But then what we can do is we can look at how well they're optimized. So their page rank is 0. That's a good sign. They have 140 pages indexed. That's pretty good. We have the backlinks to the page. So how many backlinks they have? They have 554, which is, a fairly good amount. And they have 800 backlinks to their domain. They're not in DMOZ, they're not in Yahoo, but they are using sleeping bag reviews in their title tag, their URL, their description, and their heads. They're pretty well optimized. If you see a lot of green on this page, that'll tell you that it's a term you can rank for more easily. If you see a lot of red, that's not quite as good. That's going to show you that there's a lot of competition. But for me personally, when I see the top site is a page rank 0 and the second one is a page rank 2, that's not too tough to go out and tackle. And the third one is a page rank 5, but they're not even using sleeping bag reviews in their title, in their URL, in their description, or their head. So they're not, I wouldn't say that they're actively targeting that keyword. So to me, sleeping bag reviews still looks like a good keyword, because I'm pretty confident I can get that onto the first page. And my other one was best sleeping bag. Let me bring that one up. Again, I just hit the little key. That opens up a new tab. I'll do some SEO competition. I will generate those results. And now we can say, looks like number 1 is REI, which is a big, outdoor supplier. But again, when I look over here, they're not using sleeping or best sleeping bag in their title, in their URL, or their description. So I wouldn't say they're actively going after that keyword. Not really, maybe one of these that's Overstock. This one is the best sleeping bag. So they are actively going after it. They, put that in their title. They put it in their URL. So they're actively going after it. They got 377 backlinks, which is a pretty good amount. But again, a lot of the main people on the front page aren't actively going after best sleeping bag review. They're just showing up because they have a ton of links to their overall website. REI has 4 million backlinks to their site, not to that page, just their site. So they're just ranking strictly on that. They're not necessarily optimizing it for that. So that pretty much covers keyword research. Again, you want to start looking for some low competition keywords. Let's say my initial idea was kids sleeping bags. Let me bring this back over here. So let's say my initial idea was kids sleeping bags, and I go ahead and bring that up, and there's 11 million websites using that in their title tag. Right there, I'll just cross that one off the list. Too much competition. Let's say my initial idea was Coleman sleeping bags. Let's say I was just going to review Coleman sleeping bags. And actually, not a lot of competition on that either. But again, with Coleman sleeping bags, you're going to have a problem ranking for that because Coleman is obviously going to be number 1. So again, look for keywords that have a fair amount of searches. I would say between a couple thousand is a good place to start. The more you can get, the better. You want to have a low SEO title tag competition because that's people actively going after those keywords. And again, for my example, both of those have low. We have sleeping bag reviews 23,000, and we have the best sleeping bags, which was 10,000. So that right there meets the criteria. I did a little more in-depth research by looking at the actual SEO. It looks fairly doable. So for me, I have a good market to go after. I'm going to go after best sleeping bags and sleeping bag reviews. And a secondary thing I might take note of was the double sleeping bag. Maybe I could do a site on just reviewing the top double sleeping bags. Not a lot of, overall not a lot of competition there. So go through your keywords. If the first one is a dud, for example, like I said, my first idea was kids sleeping bags, 11 million competing websites, scratch it off, move on to the next one. And again, if you had 5 to 10 ideas, it's going to take some time, I realize that, but try going through them all and finding the best one with the most traffic and the least competition, because it's going to make it easier for you all the way. And that is a pretty good overview of keyword research. This is the type of stuff you should be doing for any website you go out to make. Checking the searches, seeing what the competition is, and then seeing if they're actively going after that keyword and if you can rank for it. So you got a little bit of work ahead of you. Go ahead and go through your keywords and try to find that winner, and then we'll move on with building the site.